Hello and welcome to the Fast Track Travel Clinic with me, Simon Calder. We'll start with Smita Sukumar from Sydney, who says,
Last July, I booked a flight from Athens to Sydney via Abu Dhabi with Etihad. Sadly, for medical reasons, I was forced to cancel the trip. In my conversation with the airline's London office, staff was sympathetic and polite and advised me that I would be entitled to a full refund. But after 6 months and 6 calls to Etihad, I am at my wit's end.
I took up Smita's case with Etihad's HQ in Abu Dhabi, and I'm glad to say the airline has accepted it didn't handle the matter as well as it might. Etihad Airways apologises for the delay in responding to Dr. Smita and has agreed to reimburse her for the full amount, I've been told. An official letter should be on its way to you. No doubt you'll let me know if it doesn't arrive. Many of you have been in touch to find out about the Boeing 787 Dreamliner, which was grounded in January on safety concerns. Andrew McKenna is booked to fly to Mexico on the new aircraft with the British airline Thomson, but is worried that he might be switched to another plane.
It's as if I ordered and paid for a Mercedes. Would I be happy with a Renault Clio? No, and that's the same principle here. I paid for a flight on the Dreamliner. I understand it's not Thomson's fault, however no doubt any financial loss to Thomson's will be covered via compensation from Boeing. It's only customers like me that will lose out.
Andrew, I put your concerns to the airline and they say our priority is to ensure our customers go on their holidays. You have no right to cancel without penalty. Like every airline, they specify they may change planes for any reason and have contingency plans in place, including using alternative aircraft for our long-haul flights to Mexico and Florida if delivery is delayed. Next, CJ Osgar emails from what he calls a hot and humid Bangkok about his first flight in business class. He bought a round trip on Kenya Airways from Nairobi for nearly $2,200. But then his plans changed.
I wanted a refund on the return portion of my ticket. Kenya Airways says they calculate the cost of the outgoing portion as the same price as a return ticket. And so I won't actually get a refund.
CJ, when you cancel the inbound half of a round trip, it's standard practice for the airline to subtract the value of the air travel you have taken, which, as you've discovered, could be much more than half of what you paid. Kenya Airways says we charge the highest fare on the utilised sectors. I've seen their fare calculation and the one-way trip comes out at just 85 cents short of what you paid for a return. I don't recommend you pursue a claim for less than $1, but if your ticket is like the only business class trip I've bought, it should be valid for a year, so perhaps you might still get to use it. Finally, Keith Roberts got in touch shortly before the programme with a message headlined, "A warning to your viewers about Tegel Airport in Berlin."
Whilst I was checking my luggage in, at the desk there was a commotion. It seemed when a traveller was putting his case on the scales, someone distracted him from behind, and his hand luggage was stolen.
Thanks, Keith, for a very timely warning. The first rule of travel, never take your eyes off your possessions for a moment in an airport, a railway station or a border town. That's all we've got time for in this session at the Fast Track Travel Clinic, but whether you're seeking a business class flight or a bargain basement bed, just email fasttrack@bbc.com and I'll do my very best to find you an answer. From me, Simon Calder, bye for now and see you next time.
Thanks, Simon. We'll see you again next time. Now, to end today, let's have a bit of adventure sport. If you're an adrenaline junkie, I wonder what's top of your wish list. Perhaps paragliding off the Andes or whitewater rafting down the Zambezi? Well, one of Europe's latest offerings boasts neither an exotic location nor a scenic backdrop, but nonetheless, it requires nerves of steel. So we sent Joanne Worley to North Wales to give it a go.
Snowdonia National Park. Its mountain peaks and wild coastline draw hikers and climbers from all over the world who brave the changeable Welsh weather to trek through its cliff tops. But people in old industrial parts of Wales want tourists too, and they're hoping a massive injection of adrenaline might lead to an equally important injection of cash into this old quarry town that some say has seen better days.
This place was built on one thing, slate. Thousands of people used to make the daily trudge to the blast site, but mechanisation has replaced the need for as many workers, and that's led to young people here looking for work elsewhere.
But it's hoped there'll be jobs here if tourists come to try out this record-breaking zip wire. Firing its passengers over Penryn Quarry at speeds of more than 150 kilometres an hour. Its operators say it's the longest in the Northern Hemisphere and the fastest in the world. And in the village, there's a real feeling of build it and they will come.
People have already booked their passage over this lake in the mountainside, which is the old quarry hole, which is now drowned, of course. So yes, it will probably attract a number of visitors.
We're really suffering from an economic depression here in the area. Unemployment is high here. Young people haven't got the jobs, so they're moving out, they're moving to England, etc. We can't wait for this to get going properly so that we can attract a lot of tourists to the area and keep them in Bethesda.
The zip wire is heavily dependent on weather conditions as high wind can shut the line. Although very snowy, the wind is low enough. So there's no excuse not to try it out.
Fix it base, fix it top. Yes, yes, good to go.
4, 3, 2, 1.
What I didn't realise was that a strong headwind can stop some people from reaching the other side.
No!
And I'm one of the unlucky ones.
I'm going backwards. Oh, this is horrible. Oh, this is so bad. Thanks for rescuing me. Oh, that was so terrifying, but so fun. I was not anticipating being suspended above the quarry. Oh.
A day's trip here costs around $70, but be warned, riding and completing the line will depend on the weather.
Joe Worley hanging on for dear life on the longest zip wire in the Northern Hemisphere. And that's it from us for this week, but do try and join us again next week. 6 months on from Superstorm Sandy, will America's East Coast be ready for this year's tourism season?
I'm in Seaside Heights, New Jersey, one of the hardest hit areas during Hurricane Sandy. This town relies on tourism in the summer months to make money and to stay afloat. Much of the debris has been cleared, but there's still a lot to be done.
Both people are holding up their ends. We're working on our end of the businesses are, and the town's working on their end of the boardwalk. I think it'll be perfect.
All my equipment is gone for $400,000, $450,000. And for me to replace it now, we're talking maybe $600, $700, $800. I think at the point of my life, at my age, that it's just, I don't know if I'm going to come back.
Join me next week on Fast Track to find out if business owners will meet their deadlines.
Do join us for that if you can. And in the meantime, you can follow our travels online by following the links showing on your screen now. But until next time, from me, Fiona Foster, and the rest of the Fast Track team, wherever your travels take you next, I hope you have a great time. Bye-bye.